Welcome to the Cross Canada Spotlight. I'm Mike Arsenault. Every week we take a look at a handful of the most interesting and entertaining stories produced across the Global News Network. Remember Captain Sir Thomas More, the former British Army officer who raised about $45 million for charity by walking around his garden before his 100th birthday last year? Well, we have our very own version in Saskatchewan. Meet Frank, a 94-year-old attempting to walk from Saskatoon to Regina to raise money for sick kids.
These are the first steps of thousands for Frank Atchison over the next 2 months. The 94-year-old is walking from Saskatoon to Regina to fundraise for children's hospitals.
We gotta look after our children. They can't look after themselves.
He's walking 5 kilometers a day down Highway 11 and hopes to wrap the 260-kilometer trek by June 15th, his 95th birthday. He'll also mark 50 years with the Shriners Society. The Second World War veteran says he's walked up to 16 kilometers a day to get in shape, sometimes up and down his hallway. His walk will be fairly flat, other than a couple of big hills.
Those are going to be the torturous things for me. The two hills, Hanley Hill and Lumsden Hill, are going to be tough. But I'll make it.
Donations will go to the Shriners Hospital for Children in Montreal and the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital in Saskatoon. The head of the hospital foundation in Saskatoon says Frank reminds her of the children she works with.
They give hope, they inspire, and that's exactly the same as what Frank is doing today.
Frank says he'll drive home each night for the first leg of the trip and will stay in a motorhome the further he gets from Saskatoon. He's used to being on his feet, operating a menswear store for 46 years until closing in 2017. He says he walked to work for 2 decades.
It was 6 miles a day, so I'm cutting it in half.
Donations for Frank's walk can be made through the Jim Pattison Hospital website. Anna McMillan, Global News.
Best of luck, Frank. We will definitely be following his progress throughout the spring. And with the way he moves, I never would have guessed he was 94. I hope I'm moving like that at 64, let alone 94. From walking to running, one Montreal elementary school is tackling this year's Terry Fox run by matching the incredible 5,373 kilometers that Fox ran on his original journey.
These kids aren't running just for fun. They're remembering a man who ran several marathons despite a huge disadvantage.
Terry Fox is a guy that got cancer at his foot.
Terry Fox started his Marathon of Hope April 12, 1980, exactly 41 years ago, to raise cash for cancer research. Students here now are doing what they can to follow in his footsteps.
Since the school been made of Terry Fox,
She means named after him.
it's kind of a big deal.
This year, instead of having the annual run one day in the fall, a couple teachers decided to make it into something special.
Well, Tracy and I run and have been avid runners for a while, and during COVID, it's been our sanity. It's been helping us.
Since the kids always want to run with them, they decided to involve the whole school community. They would be running or walking in group bubbles or with families until September 29th. It's a lot of kilometers.
5,373.
The same distance Terry Fox ran in his attempt to cross Canada. He died before he finished.
We're trying to raise $2 a kilometer, which comes out to $10,746.
For the kickoff Monday, the school had a little help.
Who are we walking for?
Eddie Nolan has been participating in Terry Fox runs since 1981. That tattoo of Fox on his right leg says something about his regard for the late runner.
Good job! Good job!
Nolan, himself a cancer survivor, attended the event to support the kids, but to also remember his own brother.
He just died in January of cancer.
He wants to raise $7,000 this year for cancer research.
Whatever I raise, I'd like to add to the school's total.
Both he and teachers think the kids can learn something from Fox, who the principal calls an ordinary kid who did something extraordinary.
There's a little something in every kid who comes to our schools that is capable of doing something equally heroic.
The school is confident they'll reach their goal. Phil Carpenter, Global News, Pierrefonds.
What's really incredible about that piece is the fact Terry Fox's story still resonates so deeply among even the youngest of Canadians. All of those kids were born decades after Terry's original Marathon of Hope, but his strength and resolve perseveres to this day. Now we're going to head west to Vancouver, and when I first saw this next piece, a little bit of moisture developed in my eyes. It's the story of hope being lost and then unbelievably being found.
Been my family for a long time.
Sherry was just a teenager when Sheba, a bounding lab cross puppy, came into her life. That was 16 years ago. So the bond they share is a deep one.
Going camping or hiking, it's her favorite thing to do. She's my sidekick. 100%. She's always by my side.
Until on the evening of April 1st when she was not. Sheba had slipped out the back gate.
With Sheba being 16 years old, she's nearly entirely blind and deaf. So it's very, very hard to call her back or anything like that.
Nighttime or not, Sherry's tight-knit South Surrey neighborhood soon rallied behind her.
I had neighbors on bicycles, others walking their dog, hoping that their dog would find her. That night, there was probably about 30 people out searching for her.
Hundreds of posters soon plastered the neighborhood, but as the days passed, hope faded.
At about day 7, I hate to say it, but I was pretty defeated and thought if and when I was going to find her, it wasn't going to be a good ending.
Enter Nicole and Calixto, who 10 days after Sheba went missing and unaware of the situation, decided to go to the area to take in the sunset.
We were walking and then I looked to the right and I saw this dog in the brambles just staring into the sunset.
And I was like, I think that dog needs help. And then that's when we climbed in and found Sheba sitting there without her collar.
Calixto gathered Sheba's shivering body into his arms and hiked back up to the car.
I saw on a telephone pole a flyer and I said, oh, Nicole, go check out that flyer and see if that has anything to do with us. And
it happened to be her.
And that was when Sherry got the call she had all but given up on.
I was in a bit of disbelief.
Even when she approached the car, she was still kind of like looking, and didn't quite see, and then she got her head in the car. And
the second I saw through the door that it was her, I broke down in tears and dropped and was a big bawling baby.
It was like a really good feel-good moment. When we saw her there, we knew like our plans to watch the sunset were out the window.
It was like the best Christmas birthday miracle ever.
Linda Aylesworth, Global News.
It is very rare that a story like that has a happy ending. I honestly had goosebumps when that couple found Sheba. What an amazing reunion. I always see lost pet posters up, and if that pet isn't in the immediate vicinity, I wonder how effective they are. It really is incredible that a poster of Sheba happened to be right near where she was found. Now to the East Coast for a sibling trio being recognized for their homemade folk music album.
See you standing. When the Gilberts first dreamed of playing for the Canadian Folk Music Awards one day, they never imagined it would be from the comfort of their own kitchen. But that's exactly what happened this past weekend.
Part of us wishes we could have, gone up on the stage in PEI and, been in front of an audience and everything. But just the way it went was amazing.
Amazing because the harmonizing siblings from Hants County took home the Canadian Folk Music Awards Young Performers of the Year award.
We are so beyond excited and so thankful to have won this award.
The awards were held virtually from Prince Edward Island due to the pandemic, so the trio heard about their big win from home.
Very noisy. Our cats got quite a scare with all the yelling and everything.
The siblings were shocked by their win because they were forced to record their first album from the loft of their home because professional recording studios were shut down due to COVID-19.
We wanted to record an album that was all in one microphone, all in one room, all in one take, basically, which is what we could do at home because we weren't able to go into the studio.
Their ingenuity certainly paid off.
We'll have opportunities to have one-on-one meetings with these delegates, which is super, super exciting. And it's great that all of this can still be happening during COVID.
With live gigs canceled, performers like the Gilberts have been forced to focus on performing online.
Suddenly, it felt as if the playing field had been leveled a little bit. Like, nobody's playing gigs. Everybody has the same access to YouTube and Facebook and everything.
Like most performers, the trio hopes to hit the stage again one day.
You can have this connection with real human beings that are right in front of you. There's really no other way that you can get that. So we definitely miss it. We're definitely looking forward to getting back out there on the stage as soon as we can.
For now, they'll just soak in the win from afar. Shelley Steeves, Global News, Moncton.
We've actually started a little weekly guitar jam session here at Global News Weekend. A few of us have guitars, and we play a little bit after Sunday's show. We are nowhere close to needing actual studio space like the Gilberts, but kudos to them for their creativity and ingenuity. Our last story of the week takes us to Alberta, and as you can probably tell by my hair, it's very near to my heart.
So just make it beautiful again, huh?
Dee Green, working her magic on Barry Warnicka, paying his monthly visit to her chair.
Do you think we're going to get spring now, or?
It's supposed to warm up quite a bit.
But now, their old routine in a brand new spot, surrounded by a colorful collection.
It's a perfect place for a barbershop. It's I'm cutting hair in the world's largest man cave.
Definitely a lot to check out here at the Call of the West Museum.
I like the scenery. I like the antique cars and equipment and all the old tractors in the back.
As far as Dee knows, it's the only barbershop in Canada in a museum.
So it cuts her rent down, it helps us, it's a huge win-win situation.
It's a little bit of good news in a really tough year.
Struggling to survive amid COVID restrictions, shut down for about half of the past year.
I downsized, I let my staff go, and then when I was looking for a spot just big enough for me, this happened.
No stranger to disaster, also forced to scramble 8 years ago when the big flood hit High River.
And I lost everything, except for my chair and my pole.
With her here now, carrying on no matter what comes her way.
I think it's excellent. I think it's wonderful.
Oh, be honest. Tell them how crazy I am.
Now adding to the museum.
And this is a curling iron, eh?
A little section on the history of hair.
So that's the blade in there.
Glad to be able to share it here.
Things that people have given me over the years.
Where do you get your haircut? Right over there.
How could you do better than this? This is perfect. And I didn't have to do all the work.
Bill Tucker, Global News.
How's that look?
Excellent.
That'll do it?
Excellent.
I have to say, I love the chance to head to High River and take a seat in that chair. Maybe before the end of summer, I will finally be able to tame this unruly mane. That's it for the Cross Canada Spotlight this week. Be sure to watch Global News Weekend Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the Global TV app. For now, stay tuned for more news and weather.